hope this is level because I have this perfectly set up and then Andrew used my tripod to put you know, the laser level thing on, and I'm like, and now it's all off. So anyway, this is gonna have to do. It's hot in here. Quick thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring today's video. If you're new here, Surfshark is a VPN or a virtual private network, and in this day and age, if you're not using a VPN, I don't know what you're doing. Surfshark has been a company I've worked with for the longest because it is something I continue to use literally every day. But so a virtual private network helps protect you on the interwebs, and we know the interwebs is a dangerous place. And the great thing about Surfshark is that it's hella affordable. You know, in this economy, we can't be spending too much frivolous money, but this is something that is worth it, and your money will go a long way because you get one account, unlimited devices. That's crazy. You're like, what does it do? Well, one of the common things, and the reason I started using it, was that it can change your IP address. So that if you are in a different country, you want to access like American media or vice versa, you can do that. But it also, like I said, protects your information. So if you're outside, if you're in the public and you're using public Wi-Fi, woof, you're brave. But this would protect you from people who could just pop up on there and steal your information, because those Wi-Fi channels are not protected, girl. It's dangerous out here. Okay, besides being able to access other media, which I still think is very important, okay, because you need to watch your shows, ad blocker, hello, real-time email breach alerts, real-time credit card and ID breach alerts, okay? It's, come on. And truly the price is remarkable, especially if you use the link in the description and my code, which is just my last name, Owens, O-W-E-N-S, you get, I think it might be 4 months for free right now. Plus like 80% off. It's kind of crazy. Don't ask. I don't do math. That's not my business. But I'm trying to share the gospel with you, okay? Because I want you to be safe out here. So again, link in the description. Code O-W-E-N-S. Protect yourself. Protect yourself. Watch your shows. Thank you to Surfshark. Hey, hi, hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Jess, and we're here for a little book community where I catch you up on some things that have gone on in the bookish community. Not everything, only things that I find are worth my time and interest to talk about. And this week there's two things. One's a lawsuit, and the other one is just some really, you know, they both pertain to law. That's very interesting. Both pertain to legal proceedings, but the second one, the first one is still like, wow, this is not good. But the second one is actually disgusting, so we'll get there. But anywho, I really wish I had a better relationship with how I viewed my body, because I am sweating right now, but I'm like, I'm not putting on a short sleeve shirt. Like, it's, my air is on, but it does not feel like it's on in here. Anyway. Lawsuit. Let's start there. So I'm sure many of you are familiar with the popular series Crave by Tracy Wolff, and they look like knockoff Twilight books, like literally the covers. Oh, I don't know if they have different covers now, but the first ones, I'm like, that looks literally just like Twilight. I've never read them, but I know are they a romantasy? I don't know. Let's look them up. I think there were originally 4, but there may have been more that came out. The first one, okay. So it is a young adult series, and something about an academy, somebody named Jackson spelled with an X, already not a good sign. Okay, a vampire with deadly secrets who hasn't felt anything for 100 years. Okay, so covers just like Twilight, and it's about vampires. That is very interesting. How unique of you. Anyway, currently in the series, there are 4. Crave, Crush, Covet. There's a Catmere Academy, an Insider's Guide, Court, and Charm. Oh, and there's Cherish. Good God. So there's 6? This seems absurd. Whatever. Anyway, there are 6 of them. They're a book. However, there is a lawsuit, and it's been going on since I think 2022, but I just found out about it. But it's basically an author alleging that her agent basically fed her story that she wrote Crave and fed it to Tracy Wolf. And so I have the documents up here. I'm obviously not going to go through all of them. I can link them though because you can access them. It's 86 pages. So it just goes through some of the highlights. But it's messed up if what this person is saying is true. And I've seen some people talk about it on TikTok. This is under Entangled Teen, I think. Which I don't remember who Entangled is under. I'll look it up and I can put it in here. But I saw someone also on TikTok who was talking about their experience with Entangled, and that they know there have been like, they prioritize like their bigger name, or they prioritize certain authors over others. So these 2 authors, the one who said she wrote Crave and Tracy Wolf who published Crave, both have the same agent. Let's get into it. Nature of the action. This is a case about an extraordinary theft and betrayal in the book publishing industry. Plaintiff Lynn Freeman, an unsuspecting writer and attorney, put her complete faith and trust in a literary agent, Emily Sylvan Kim of Prospect Agency LLC, to shop her manuscript to publishers. Kim misled and defrauded Freeman into continually revising the manuscript and creating new material so that Kim's longtime client and close friend, Tracy Wolf, could copy the various versions to create the New York Times bestselling series Crave, consisting of the books entitled Crave, Crush, Covet, and Court. Is there a fly in here? Because I'm a fight. The substantial similarities between the various versions of Freeman's manuscripts and the books in the Crave series are overwhelming and undeniable. In addition to the similarities in plot, characters, dialogue, mood, theme, pace, there are a substantial number of lifted scenes throughout the series and an overwhelming number of similarities of words, phrases, language between the works, which could not possibly be coincidental. Many of these similarities occur in page number proximity between the various versions of Freeman's manuscripts and the Crave series of books, using Freeman's language, expression, plots, subplots, and characters. At the time Freeman contacted Kim, her manuscript was under consideration with a well-known UK publisher who advised her to obtain an agent. Their UK publishing rights, director, fantasy editor, children's editor, and readers loved it according to their emails. The sales department ultimately passed, as they had already selected their quota of young adult books for the year, but offered introductions to literary agents that they believed the book would sell. Freeman felt she should have a literary agent in the US and discovered Kim through Publishers Marketplace. Kim told Freeman that she should sign with her because she found the bestseller Twilight from a slush pile and was responsible for its discovery. Freeman's book is a young adult paranormal fantasy romance set in a high school in Alaska with a protagonist who moves to the state from San Diego after a tragic accident killed her family. The story follows a teenage girl who believes she's human but is not, and who must navigate her way in the supernatural world she never knew existed, while falling in love with a dangerous boy with dark secrets, all set against the backdrop of a supernatural war between the factions of beings. Freeman intended the story to offer a feminist perspective in which the heroine is a wholly unique supernatural being whose very purpose is to restore the balance among the warring factions with a unique fantasy world set in Alaska. Kim told Freeman she liked her manuscript very much, loved her writing, and that only a few minor changes would be required before the book would be ready to send to other publishers. Keep that in mind, few minor changes. Despite the foregoing comment by Kim, Freeman spent over 3 years having frequent and lengthy phone calls with Kim and constantly exchanging emails, the focus of which were comments and detailed questions that Kim had regarding the manuscript, which led to Freeman repeatedly revising it and creating new material. Kim requested pitch notes, chapter outlines, chapter summaries, synopses, query letters, Freeman's notes used to create the manuscript, her plans for the book series. She even asked Freeman to write letters for her to use with potential publishers about the books. Freeman complied, and over the course of their relationship sent Kim over 45 versions of the manuscript. Bitch! After reading the book entitled Crave, supposedly written by Tracy Wolf in 2021, it became obvious to Freeman that Kim, in breach of the fiduciary duty she owed Freeman sent the various versions of the manuscript as well as the additional materials Freeman provided her to Wolf, a client and good friend of Kim's and possibly others for the purpose of Wolf and possibly others copying the manuscript. Crave is a young adult paranormal fantasy set in high school in Alaska with a protagonist who moves to the state from San Diego after a tragic accident killed her family. The story follows a teenage girl who believes she's human but is not, and who must navigate her way in a supernatural world she never knew existed while falling in love with a dangerous boy with dark secrets, set against the backdrop of a supernatural war between the factions of beings. Crave is lauded as offering a feminist perspective in the genre, and Wolf is praised for creating a unique fantasy world set in Alaska in which the heroine is a wholly unique supernatural being whose very purpose is to restore the balance among the warring factions. In her own words, Wolf said in an interview recently, "I do think all the training I did to become an English professor helped a lot. I've done more reading and more deconstruction of novels and more craft of writing than I could ever possibly tell you. And when you pull apart a novel to examine it to see how all the different parts fit together, I think it totally helps with understanding how to put one together." That is exactly what Wolf did with Freeman's materials. Freeman subsequently read the other 3 books in the Crave series, Crush, Covet, and Court, and discovered that they are also substantially similar to the various versions of her manuscripts. The books are derivative works of Crave, based on the same characters and a continuation of the same storyline in Crave, using the new material Freeman created in the various versions of her manuscripts, in addition to Freeman's notes and outlines provided to Kim. Wolf uses plot devices and subplots from Freeman's manuscripts, scenes that are in various versions of Freeman's manuscripts, and an overwhelmingly large number of similar words and phrases, many of which occur in page number proximity. The books share 7 character names in common, some of which are highly unusual, such as the bloodletter Maurice and Colin, with 2 L's. In response to a demand letter by Freeman's counsel, an attorney for Entangled, the publisher of the Crave series, stated that Liz Peltier, Entangled's chief executive officer and publisher, created the basic storyline for the Crave book series, selecting the writer Tracy Wolf, not based on a prepared manuscript, but due to her writing voice. Through counsel, Peltier claims that the Crave book series was a collaborative project, with Peltier providing to Wolf in writing the main plot, location, characters, and scenes, and actively participating in the editing and writing process. Interestingly, Entangled admits to having received Freeman's manuscript in late 2013. Kim told Freeman that she sent the manuscript to Stacey Abrams, an editorial director at Entangled. Ms. Abrams and Ms. Peltier are listed in both Crave and Crush as editors of both books. If you hear snoring, it's Nigel. Bitch! 45 manuscripts? I'll be goddamned. What? At that point, did you even like the original book? So the parties, like I said, we have Lynn Freeman, who is the writer who said that she wrote this story and it was stolen from her. Then we also have Tracy Wolf, the author of the Crave series. We have Prospect Agency, which the agent Kim worked for, and we have this person, Emily Kim, the actual agent. Then we have Entangled Publishing. Publishing is also a defendant. Macmillan, that's who they're under. Macmillan. Then there's also defendant Universal City Studios, and maybe that's because Crave was optioned for a film. I'm not sure. And so those are the main parties. So it goes back to 2010 is when Freeman was shopping around her book, and that is when she signed agreement with Kim in December of 2010. And then, like I said earlier, took over 3 years, all these revisions and edits, and the book was sent to Entangled or Macmillan in 2013. Crave by Tracy Wolf was published like 2020, 2021. Like the timeline of events in her relationship. And this is saying that Kim reportedly told Freeman that she did not have lengthy phone calls with her other clients like she did with Freeman. The focus of most of the communications were comments and questions Kim had about the manuscript, which led to Freeman repeatedly revising the Freeman manuscript. During the time Freeman and Kim worked together, Freeman sent Kim over 45 versions of the manuscript, numerous notes, outlines. It said each time Freeman revised the manuscript and thought the book was finished, Kim would have additional comments and questions that required Freeman to prepare yet another new version of the manuscript. At the time, Freeman could not understand why there was this ever-evolving stream of comments and questions requiring her to constantly revise the manuscript and create additional new material. This also says that Freeman met Tracy Wolff in 2012 at a conference, the Romance Writers of America conference. So Kim urged her to attend a talk that Tracy Wolff was giving, and then they ended up like writing to an event together, and they, you know, were having small talk discussing books they were working on, and Freeman brought up, you know, spoke briefly about Blue Moon Rising. I'm guessing that's what her book would have been called, during the ride to the conference. And so Freeman also answered a number of questions asked of her by Kim, such as how she got into writing, how she got the idea for her manuscript, what made her decide to write a book, and when specifically she began writing the manuscript, as well as questions about living in Alaska and what made her set her book in Alaska. So after 3 years and all these edits, Kim tells Freeman that she had no publishers to whom she could send her book. Other than the few publishers to whom she had already sent it, Kim asked Freeman to provide a list of publishers and contacts who she thought might be interested. She also had Freeman write chapter outlines, pitch notes, synopses, as well as letters of introduction for her to use to send to them. Freeman supplied Kim with everything she requested. However, she always thought it was strange that Kim asked for those materials. Kim was also pressuring her at this time to write an adult contemporary romance, telling her she could easily sell a book with Freeman's writing style. She even suggested erotica, but Freeman said that she didn't have any interest in writing contemporary romance or erotica. In 2014, Kim told Freeman that she could not write a contemporary romance book and give her something new. She would need to remove Freeman from her website. She told her that the Freeman manuscripts were a great story, but they missed the market. She said that young adult books and movies in the genre were oversubscribed, and that Freeman would need to wait until her son graduated from high school in 2021 to resubmit her original manuscript. Freeman gave Kim notes for a few proposed books as well as some chapters. However, Freeman concluded that she did not want to write anything other than young adult fantasy set in Alaska. Kim told her there was no market for it. Like I said, this document is 86 pages, so I'm not going to go through all of it, but I did want to go through a little bit more of it. And there is a part that has some overwhelming similarities between them. So her book, Freeman's book, would have been called Blue Moon Rising. So it has that in one column, it says main plot, and then it has Crave main plot. And so here is some of the comparisons. Like I said earlier, story takes place at a public school in Alaska. The school's in Anchorage. In Crave, it's at a private boarding school in Healy, Alaska. It was originally in Anchorage. We have heroines both being from San Diego. She's 17 in both, believes she's human, but she's not. She's a queen, descendant of a twin goddess in both. Her supernatural purpose will be to restore the balance. She is a protector in both. In both stories, she lives with the only family she has left, her uncle in the original, she lives with the only family she has left, her mom and aunt. They are both witches. In Crave, she lives with the only family she has left, her uncle and cousin. They are both witches. Let's see, she believes her mom is a human in one, and her mom she is a witch. She believes her mom is a human. She's a gargoyle. She suffers anxiety and panic from the loss of her family, because in both stories, let's see, she comes to Alaska after an accident killed her father and grandparents when she's 7, or she comes to Alaska after an accident killed her father and mother when she's 17. Her description of Alaska starts off negative in the beginning in both. I fear is not looking good. That is, I mean, they got it broken down. So like I said, I've never read the Crave series. No, thank you. No ma'am, no thank you. And obviously this is alleged, but you know, there's lots of, it would appear that Miss Freeman ain't lying. That's what it looked like to me. Mr. Tall, Dark, Bloodthirsty, Mr. Tall, Dark, and Surly. My stomach tightens. My stomach tightens up. My heart falls straight to my feet. My heart was racing double time. My stomach already performing the Olympic gymnastics routine. My already nervous stomach does a series of somersaults. Ooh, there's more. Ooh, they have a character comparison. Like, they broke it down. Obviously, I know that's what attorneys do in lawsuits. But, ooh, and then it goes through the second book, Crush. I wonder if it goes through all 4 books. So originally it was just 4 and now there's 6 because I guess they got really popular. But if that is allegedly what happened, that is so fucked. To make somebody spend that amount of time, 3 years and that many revisions, and asking them to do all that work, writing the pitches and sending synopses and all of this stuff just to give it to your friend. Ooh, I scrolled down to something and it says, plaintiff respectfully requests that the court enter judgment as follows. That Freeman be awarded compensatory damages in an amount to be proven at trial, and that Freeman be awarded punitive damages in an amount to be awarded at trial. With respect to the second claim for relief against Prospect and Kim, that Freeman be awarded compensatory damages in an amount to be proven at trial, and punitive damages. Okay, so that's all of the different ones. Let's see, compensatory damages. So this says against Wolf, Kim, Prospect, Entangled, and McMillan for an accounting and payment to Freeman of all gains, profits, and advantages said defendants derive from their copyright infringement of the Freeman copyrighted material for such compensatory damages as Freeman has sustained as a consequence of said defendant's infringement of the Freeman copyrighted material in an amount to be proven at trial. Ooh. And that is my best reading of this as a non-law person. If you are a lawyer person, if you've read it, or from what I've said, if you want to share anything down below, I would love to know. But obviously this is alleged, but from what I've seen, run Miss Freeman her money. Quickly, Tracy. That's right, Nigel. Quickly. Anyways, I would love to know your thoughts down below. And also if you've read them, how were they? I'm gonna read them, but I just want to know. That's just messed up. Messed up is not even the word. That's just fucked. That is fucked up. So I've spoken on here about some of Booktok before being I'm mainly referring to when it's usually a man. Sometimes it has been a boy who's under the age of 18 because people have no shame. They'll post a video. It may be a thirst trap. It may be them on a motorcycle. It may be anything that makes them think of a male character that they've read in a book. Sometimes a fantasy, but a lot of times a dark romance, or like that's what they're picturing. But also it can be a fantasy novel. So this person will post this video. They're not, some of them may get hip to it and like hashtag Booktok or something, but usually they're not. But then it comes across these people's FYPs and they're like, ooh, Booktok is coming, come up, like summoning Booktok just because it's a random man on the internet. It's really weird. And I know you're like, Jessica, that's just that comment. But there's a lot of other comments that are like weird things, okay? They say weird, inappropriate things. You should not be saying under a person's video. You don't know them. Ew. Like there was this, I think he was 16, literally he posted like on a motorcycle and they were like, ooh, Booktok is coming, or like calling for Booktok under his video. He had like a backpack on, I think, and people are like, ooh, I wish it could be your backpack. Like they just say things that are not appropriate, okay? Not appropriate. And so recently, like I said, this is another legal thing. There has been this hideous, both inside and out man in court being sentenced because he was found guilty of crimes of murder. And there are people thirsting over him on TikTok. Some of those people being Booktok people, saying that he reminded them of like some character in some like dark romance or something. Get it together. Gather yourself and check yourself. Maybe somewhere where you are seeking some mental help. No, I'm serious. That's fucking weird. This man named Wade Wilson, so he killed two women, Christine Melton and Diane Ruiz, were strangled as part of his cross-county crime spree. And he also, I think, tried to kill his girlfriend as well. She lived. And she testified to this. There is all this evidence. This man showed no remorse. He has all these fucking tattoos on his face because he looks like shit and he is a piece of shit. Just sitting up there smirking in court, not caring. I think he was sentenced to death. I think. I have not, this is not a case I knew about. I have only aware of this because of the Booktok things that have come up on my FYP. Was that a gnat? Was it a fly or a gnat? Either way, why are you in my black ass home? Okay. So anyway, I'm not gonna go into details about his crime because it's a gnat. Oh my God, it's on my camera. Get your ass out here before I fuck you up. What the fuck are you doing in my house? I'm not gonna go into his crimes. It's not a true crime channel. All I know is he's been found guilty, okay? Found guilty. He does not seem to show any remorse about what he did. And, you know, even if he did, still weirdo behavior to be thirsting over him online and being like, oh yes, this person reminds me of this person in this book. I don't know what y'all are reading. You know, like, read what you want to read, but like, what are you reading that a literal murderer is who you are picturing for? I don't know what y'all are doing over there, but it's weird. Like, and a lot of the videos are deleted now, but there's also a lot of comments up under videos because people are making like videos of him walking into court and like putting a certain song behind it, you know, slowing the video down, and people are like, oh, what does this say about me? Uh-oh, there's the gnat. They're like, what does this say about me? Uh-oh, I might not be well. And it's like, you know, drooling emoji, sweating emoji. And I'm like, yeah, what is wrong with you for real? There was one girl who like posted a video, she ended up deleting it TikTok, and she's like, just because I'm like thinking a murderer is hot doesn't make me a murderer. Man, that's what you... It's... All I have to say, it's weirdo behavior, and stop it. Just stop all of it. Stop thirsting under random people. Stop commenting under random people you find attractive accounts and like making untoward comments to them. It's not just like, oh, hi, you look so handsome. They're very sexually suggestive and it's gross. But yeah, seeing that, I was like, y'all are disgusting. And then there's this person, I've heard of her. I don't know how she came to fame. Her name's like Bunny or something. And she's sitting up here talking about, oh, I'm calling the jail where he is because I want to get him on my podcast. Why? Are you doing an investigation? No, you're just fascinated by this person. You want to talk to him on your podcast? You're a fucking weirdo. So I'm so sorry. And like, it's like, oh, no. At this one, I'm going to judge you because you're a fucking weirdo, and that's being nice. So like, let's not do that. Let's not do that. And you know, read your taboo romance, your dark romance, whatever, but like, I need y'all to check in with reality, okay? That's a book. I would hope in real life you don't want a murderer or to be kidnapped or a mafia boss or something. I mean, some of y'all might, and that's between you and your therapist, but I just need us to know you can enjoy something in fiction, but I need you to separate that from real life because it's getting weird. It's getting strange. Nigel, it's getting weird, huh, Pookie? Do you want to come tell him hi? Let mama take your donut off. Baby has allergies, okay? Oh, well, there's a big boy. Oh, what a big boy. Tell him, Nene, oh, your funky butt. Oh, look at your tummy. All red from laying in the grass. Tell him it's weirdo behavior. It's weirdo behavior. Don't do that. Hey, Nene, say hi. Say hi. Say hi. Whoa. Here. Nene, stand up. Say hi. Say hi, Pookie. Fine. Go on somewhere. Okay, that's all I have for you. You really thought you were gonna get through a video without seeing editing Jessica? Silly you. Editing Jessica here. Ignore my appearance. But this video is probably a hodgepodge because I'm a mess. But anyway, I needed to add this in because obviously I filmed that video and then different things came up, whatever. So I'm not gonna talk too long about this one thing, but it is something that I've seen a couple like videos pop up about on Booktok. Obviously, it's a discussion we've had before on Book Twitter, Instagram, here on BookTube, but it's always interesting seeing those conversations. Obviously, Booktok is where it's at right now. So it's about male-male romances and more specifically about women, you know, most who you assume are cisgendered heterosexual women reading male-male romances. And so I am a woman, a cisgender woman. So I feel limited in my ability to say a lot about it, but I just wanted to touch on it because it's very interesting. So I saw a couple of videos and then I started looking, and I guess there are a significant amount of people on Booktok who like primarily, if not only, when they're reading romance, read male romances, and a lot of those are people who look like women, femme presenting, whatever. And so I guess there's people who find that weird, or find that, or think it's more like a fetishization thing, like they're reading it. And so I guess there's been conversation about that. I did see like a gay man who was talking about it, and other gay queer authors who are mask presenting in the comments of these videos saying like, I love that anyone reads these stories. So I feel like the conversation, obviously, on TikTok, you have comments, you can stitch, duet, but like, it's not a panel of people, right? I feel like in this instance, it's like the videos I've seen have been from femme presenting women saying why they're reading it, and then people in the comments saying that it's fine. And I don't know, again, I don't know what I really have to add to the conversation. I have read male romances. I haven't read any recently. I don't know, but it's not like when I go for a romance, that's not my only thing that I'm reading. And it was really interesting, this one person's video, she had like a list of why she preferred those to like a hetero couple. And it was very interesting because she was like, I just think like their banter is better. There's not the power dynamic. The stories are better, all this different stuff. And I'm like, you like what you like. So I know that there's probably an old community, I probably can't find it, where this came up. But I just think that's hard. And at that community also, it might have been, because I know we've had the conversation before about women, who appear to be femme presenting heterosexual women writing male romances. Now, I don't know if this conversation was steering that much in this direction. It seemed more like people were having a problem with people, like women reading male romances, but I know I've heard that conversation too. So again, I am not the person to like have a solution or an answer or what is right in this situation, because I am one person and I am a woman and I'm not a writer, also, but I don't know. I wonder why that's coming back up. I don't know. Like, everyone likes different things. Some people want mostly sapphic romances. Some people want mostly gay romances, or maybe some people want mostly why choose romances, or polyamorous, or I don't know. We all like different things. Some people like dark romances. Some people only want like really sweet contemporary romances. There's closed door. There's all these different things. So I just like, I don't know. And I don't feel qualified to speak on the fetishization aspect. You know what I'm saying? And then back to the, if it is what we think are cisgendered heterosexual women writing male, there's the problem. We think, we don't know. And you can't be out here being like, whoa, what's your sexual orientation? Who are you? Why are you writing these? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like, yeah, I was gonna start there and I was like, I don't even know how to say that. I'm just like, if you're reading something, whether that is a queer love story or not, and you're enjoying it, I don't enjoy it. Like, there's so much around books right now, especially. And like, that doesn't mean that there are not like books out there that are like, that are like, woof, okay, wow. But I know you're like, Jessica, why did you bring this topic up? You have nothing of value to say. I just wanted to bring it up to see if anyone in the comments has anything. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a new conversation, but it was just interesting to see it again. And I'm like, I don't see a problem with it. But again, I'm just one person. I have a limited view. I feel like we need a lot of different people in this conversation to have a robust discussion and really be able to pinpoint if there is some issue with fetishization, or like what is a problem if there is one. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay, thank you.
Hey, romance readers and authors, can we talk? The Who is romance for discourse wheel has spun yet again, and there are a few points that I would like to make. Matt Mansfield did a series of posts about this on Instagram a couple weeks ago, and Don Martin also recently did a video about it, which I'll have linked in the description. I think Matt's series approaches this topic with a lot of care and nuance and thought, and while I agree with some of the things that Don has to say, and particularly I think it is coming from a very heartfelt place, I don't agree with everything in his video. I think my biggest issue with the discourse around who reads and writes romance is, why are we having the conversation in the first place? To what end discourse about romance? To what end? To what end? I think on the one hand you have queer men, mostly gay men, but lots of bi and pan guys, trans men of a variety of sexual orientations, looking for romance books about them, and when they see the most popular and the most recommended books in that category, they don't like what they see. They notice trends about those books. How many of them feature traumatic coming out experiences? How many of them feature a bi awakening or gay for you? They notice trends about the body types and the sexual positions of the characters in those stories. On the other hand, you have many readers and fans of romance who may not be queer men and who get a lot of enjoyment and fulfillment out of reading those stories. You have people who were assigned female at birth who are perhaps questioning their gender, people who've considered themselves straight who are questioning their orientation, and the many women who have experienced gender-based trauma and violence who want to enjoy romantic and sexual relationships in their fiction, but struggle to do that with male-female stories because of those negative gender-based experiences that they've had in their life. There are perhaps high-minded reasons for enjoying romance, the escape from misogynistic and patriarchal relationships that often get replicated in MF storytelling, and then there are just like base erotic reasons people think it's hot, and within the toxic algorithmic world of social media, the hottest takes get pushed to the top while mutual understanding gets pushed to the bottom. And so the discourse wheel spins on, but it's on a stationary bicycle, ever spinning but never getting us anywhere. And there is a distressing amount of essentialism and reductivism that tends to crop up in these conversations. I have seen comments on my own videos of people saying, I never read male-written because men don't know how to write good romance, or people saying, I never read women-written because women just fetishize gay men and they don't understand gay male experiences. On the one hand, dismissing essentially all male authors and the experiences that they bring to the table, and on the other hand, doing likewise with women, and frequently misgendering people who have written popular works. Casey McQuiston and Alice Oseman often get misgendered in conversations about romance, but I also think that gay men bring these valid concerns of theirs to the table about what they're seeing in romance, and a lot of times they're not listened to and their concerns are not taken seriously. And the fact that some very popular romance are not written by cishet women, but nevertheless are also not written by gay men, does nothing to alleviate their concerns. But by the same token, I don't think a lot of gay men take seriously the history of the romance genre and its more recent overlap with fandom and fic writing, and how it was and still is a marginalized genre that was created by, carved out, nurtured, and supported by and for women. Just as the women and femme people should be coming to the gay male table with respect, the gay men who are coming to the romance table should be coming to that with respect. And I think when prominent gay men say things like, women just read romance because they want to see boys kissing and not have to compete with another woman, that is not coming to the romance table with respect. That is not bringing the kind of care that this conversation, a discussion, requires. This gets back to the reductivisms and essentialisms that I think are profoundly unhelpful in these discussions. And it makes me think of this. No one has a monopoly on bad writing and bad representation. Just because a queer man writes an romance doesn't mean that it's going to faithfully reflect the lived experiences of queer men. And just because a non-queer man writes an romance doesn't mean that it's not. And oh, by the way, there is no universal lived experience of queer people. There are multitudes of experiences. And because a lot of writing is bad, you're going to see a lot of bad writing and bad representation in romance, just as you see it in MF romance and in sci-fi and in mystery. On the one hand, fellow queer men, this means that we are not being specifically targeted with negative tropes and stereotypes and poor representation. But on the other hand, if you are a fan and particularly an author of romance and you're not yourself a queer man, I would hope that you would approach that with the respect that engaging with a marginalized community warrants. I would like to see more big popular romance stories written by queer men, but I would also like to see the big popular romance stories that are not written by queer men approach our community with a greater level of respect. I would like to see more great sapphic romances celebrated and promoted in bookish spaces. I would like to see a greater diversity in all romance of body types and races and gender expressions. I would like to see less sexism and patriarchy and misogyny and bigotry in all romance. I would like for us to approach one another with the same dignity and respect that we would like to see in the romance that we read, that we take that stationary wheel and turn it into something that can start moving us forward together.
Just a warning, the last bit of this video does talk about sexual assault. So proceed with caution. Okay, so sorry, Raggedy Publishing, Raggedy Editing Jessica back again because we have to talk about Neil Gaiman. Ooh. I saw this and then I forgot about it, and then I was going through my saved stuff and I was like, oh, okay. So Neil Gaiman, very popular author. He wrote a lot of things. I don't know. I can't even think of them right now. Sandman, those graphic novels that have been turned into a show on Netflix. The House at the End of the Lane or something. Neil Gaiman. Didn't he write that Norse mythology? He's written a lot of books. I'm pretty sure the majority of you know him. So there have been allegations that have come out against him. And this, I'll put the link below, but I'm looking at an article from the Bookseller. And it said that a woman alleges that she was sexually assaulted by Gaiman in 2022 when she was working as a nanny to his child. She was 23 and he was in his 60s. So this was reported in New Zealand. Another woman who describes herself as a fan alleges Gaiman was abusive and had non-consensual sex with her on one occasion when she was 20 and he was in his 40s. So he has denied these allegations, strongly denies these allegations, saying he believed consent had been established. And the two women making allegations were reporting an otherwise consensual relationships with the author. I'm trying to find more information because that first article is very short. I found the podcast that had broken the story 2 days prior and started listening. I ended up devouring all 4 episodes. So it's called Master, the allegations against Neil Gaiman. Let's go ahead and draw that up. Maybe I'll listen to that and then come back. I mean, this isn't like, this isn't a true crime broadcast, so you can go listen to it. I'll just give you Cliff Notes. Ooh, here we go. Master, the allegations against Neil Gaiman. He's got his big mug right there. Okay, so one alleged assault was a 21-year-old in 2022 when he was 61, and of a 20-year-old in 2005 when he was 45, described in shocking graphic detail, horrified at what had also been revealed about his ex-wife Amanda Palmer, and about how New Zealand police responded to Gaiman's accuser when she went to them for help. But so we have one of the victims, or the main accuser, we're going to call her Scarlett. That's what this is saying. I doubt that's her real name. Described herself as a friend of Amanda Palmer before Palmer hired her as a live-in au pair nanny to help care for Palmer and Gaiman's young son, Ash. In February 2022, on Scarlett's first day working for the couple, Ash was at a friend's house and Scarlett was left alone with Gaiman in his New Zealand home. Within a few hours of their meeting, Gaiman climbed into an outdoor bath that Scarlett had run for herself. And according to Scarlett, penetrated her with his fingers without her consent. And that was the beginning of a 3-week sexual relationship between Scarlett, then 21, and Gaiman, then 61. One of the things says, on another occasion that he did this, the pain was so intense she passed out. According to Gaiman, Scarlett had agreed to share a bath on that first night, in which they merely made out and cuddled consensually. He says he never penetrated Scarlett with his penis, and that within days of their meeting, she expressed an interest in mild BDSM. He says their relationship was entirely consensual. So this says a court of law might agree with Gaiman because although Scarlett went to Johnson alleging assault, and before that to the New Zealand police, she did express enthusiastic consent throughout her relationship with Gaiman. And so she handed over her archive of WhatsApp messages between her and Gaiman. And Johnson described Scarlett as seeming besotted with him. At the same time, she texted a friend the next day telling them about the bath with Gaiman and saying that he crossed the boundaries. Scarlett also texted Gaiman. She signed off her message, "Thank you for a lovely night. Wow, X." I am not an attorney. I'm not a judge. I'm going to say that 21 with a 61-year-old successful wealthy man, inherently power imbalance, and also who's someone who's working for you. We were not there. I just feel like 21 is so young. That is so young. And it is very easy to be manipulated, charmed into, coerced into situations you initially would not be comfortable in, but you're like, well, they're older, they know better, I should listen. Or they're making you feel special because it's like, I'm this rich person, I'm older, I'm paying you attention, you should feel grateful. If you're interested in reading more about this article is very interesting because it talks about what they learned from the podcast and also some criticisms of the podcast. It's 4 episodes, but they bring up that the podcast did share some lesser details which provide important insight and context, but they're like a 3rd episode goes on a tangent about Gaiman's Scientologist upbringing without connecting it in any meaningful way with the current allegations beyond the unfounded claim that Gaiman's father was a sexual assaulter. And then when interviewing Scarlett and in her narration, Johnson, regularly slips into victim blaming lines of questioning, both directed at Scarlett and rhetorical. Did you jump out of the bath at any point? Why would anyone stay around for this? Again, yeah, that's fucked because you can't be blaming people. And again, her age, oh my God. Said, I also question the editorial judgment involving certain people in the story. Gaiman had actor Fiona Shaw, who stars in the Amazon adaptation of his novel Anansi Boys, record a sympathetic message for Scarlett while she was suicidal, which you can hear in the podcast. We're told that it's unclear what Shaw knew of Gaiman and Scarlett's relationship, which makes you wonder why she was dragged into this at all. Gaiman and Palmer's therapist, who had a conversation with Scarlett regarding what happened, but who couldn't talk to Johnson out of client confidentiality, is mentioned by name, which seemed unnecessary and imprudent. That's interesting. I'm definitely going to listen to the podcast because why would Neil Gaiman, why would she talk to his therapist? I don't know. That just doesn't seem, I don't know. And then there's another former nanny, unnamed, who may or may not have had an experience with Gaiman, who allegedly asked Scarlett in an email if she had signed an NDA, followed by a sad face emoji. So I don't know. People are like, there's going to be more coming out, or there's maybe more people coming forward. There was another thing on Twitter where this person, and again, these are all allegations. Someone said, for those following the Neil Gaiman situation, no inside info on Gaiman, but I can tell you that the female junior staff at Harper used to warn each other about him. We're seeing some order cancellations on Gaiman titles. Readers definitely care about this, but I'm not aware of any publishers planning to make formal statements. Not his publisher, but several divisions of Penguin Random House are silently wiping Gaiman's name from web copy and his blurb from reprints. And then this other person has a message. Again, these are alleged. I can't say this publicly, but at San Diego Comic-Con every year, George R.R. Martin and Neil Gaiman have a cruise they invite young women on. This includes new authors, and it's called the Ho Cruise. I don't know. But it's not like it's impossible. It's not like it's far-fetched. They're human, and they're men. So this is all alleged. Again, the link to that article and the name of the podcast will be in the description, but I was like, whoa, wow. So if you've seen or heard any mumblings or like any other accounts or anything, I mean, you don't have to say it in the comments, but if you want to share, I just Okay, this may be the last time you see editing, Jessica. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, God. There's other things, like, trust me, there's other things. And I see them, even though I'm not on Twitter, I'm not on Threads. I see things that come up on TikTok. But at this point, the stuff in the book community becomes so repetitive that I'm like, oh, it's another white person pretending to be brown or black. I'm tired. Like, I'm tired of it. Oh, look, it's another publisher being trifling. Another indie publisher being trifling. I'm tired. So really, unless it's like a kiki fun time, which, not that plagiarism is fun time, but just seeing all of the similarities, I'm like, oh wow, okay, I'm interested in that. Or like when the Throne of Glass books were coming out, that drama, not like it's inherent, it's still wrong, but you know, those are more lighthearted things. I'm so sick of talking about continuous racism and prejudice in publishing and white people pretending to, oh my God. Not to say I'll never do a video on it again, but it just is so often that I'll see it and I'm like, no. The amount of time that I would have to spend trying to track down all this information, I could be reading a book. I could be reading a fanfic. I could be laughing at TikToks. So I just don't do it. And could my channel do a lot better if I did? Yes. But it's not worth it to me. Even though after Nigel's last vet appointment, I'm like, girl, you should, but I just can't. I can't do it all the time. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on these things. If you're on TikTok and you've seen this Wade Wilson thing, Let me know. And then again, about the lawsuit, let me know your thoughts, especially if you've read the books. That's all I got for you. So again, check out the link below for today's sponsor. Thank you to Surfshark. Keeping a girl safe out here in these streets. And that's all for me. Stay blessed, hydrated, moisturized, and sunscreen. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.